She started laughing loudly like someone who had lost her mind. She dropped to the ground, pulling at her clothes and saying strange things. "She's gone mad," someone shouted. Welcome, my dear viewers. Please, if you're joining us for the first time, do well to subscribe to this channel for more interesting stories. Let's get started. Iyaronke's buka began as a tiny, unnoticed food stall in the midst of Lagos Island Market, Balogun. She sold basic meals like jollof rice, beans, amala with ewedu soup, and so on. Every day, she woke up before sunrise to prepare her food, hoping that the market traders and passers-by would stop to eat. But life wasn't easy for Iyaronke. Her stall was surrounded by other cooks who also sold delicious meals. Mama Bola and Mama Chichi had already built strong reputations. Customers trusted them and rarely tried anything new. "Why should I leave Mama Bola's rice for yours?" one man asked one day, walking away without buying anything. Iyaronke felt frustrated. She tried her best to make her food taste good, but no matter how hard she worked, her buka was always the least busy in the market. Some days she sat under the hot sun watching the other cooks serve plates after plates while her pots remained full. "I just need one chance," she whispered to herself one day. "If people taste my food, they would see how good it is. But how do I make them notice me?" Despite the struggles, Iyaronke refused to give up. She had come to Lagos Island with a dream of making her buka the best in the market. She believed that with hard work and determination, she could succeed. But as days turned into weeks and weeks into months, nothing changed. Her store remained quiet and she felt invisible. Then one fateful evening, after another disappointing day, a neighbor told her about a powerful herbalist named Baba Ige. "Baba Ige can help you," the neighbor whispered. "People say his charm are strong. He has helped many traders in this market grow their businesses." At first, Iyaronke was unsure. She had heard stories about herbalists and their strange practices, but she didn't believe in such things. However, as she lay on the bed that night, thinking about her struggles, desperation began to creep in. "What do I have to lose?" she thought. "If Baba Ige can help me, maybe my dream will finally come true." With that decision, her journey towards greatness and trouble began. Iyaronke spent the next few nights wrestling with bosses' words. She had already prided herself on her integrity, but desperation was a powerful force. Finally, one night she gathered her courage and followed bosses' directions to secluded parts of Lagos. Baba Ige's shrine was hidden deep within a swamp. The air was thick with the smell of herbs and smoke. The herbalist, a tall man with the piercing eyes and a booming voice, greeted her. "I know why you're here," he said without waiting for her to speak. Iyaronke was both terrified and intrigued. She explained her struggles and Baba Ige listened patiently, then presented her with an offer. He could make her the most famous cook in the market. Her food would become irresistible and her name would echo across the market. "But there is a price to pay," Baba Ige warned. "What's the price?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Every power comes with a condition. You must prepare your food with this enchanted water and your workers must consume it first. They will serve you loyally without questions. Your customers will never leave your sight," he said, pointing at the enchanted water beside them. "You must never eat your own food. This is the most important rule here. If you do, the power will turn against you." Iyaronke received all the instructions with her enchanted water and left. The next morning, Iyaronke cooked a small pot of stew, adding just a few drops of the enchanted water. When her workers tasted it, they eagerly devoured every bite. They praised her cooking endlessly, even though it was an ordinary recipe. Encouraged, she began to use the water in all her meals. Slowly, customers started flocking to her restaurant. At first, it was 1 or 2 new faces, then it was 5. By the end of the week, there was line outside her restaurant. Iyaronke was ecstatic. She expanded her menu, hired more workers, all of whom unknowingly consumed the enchanted food and became bound to her will. Within weeks, Iyaronke's buka became the most talked about spot in Lagos Island markets. Every day, a long queue of people waited outside her stall, eager to taste her food. It started with a few traders who claimed her meals were the best they've ever tasted. Soon, word spread, and even those who had never eaten at her buka felt curious. Customers began arriving before dawn just to secure a place in line. Traders abandoned their stalls, saying, "I can't focus until I eat Iyaronke's food." Some left their customers unattended as they rushed to the buka of Iyaronke to grab a plate. Arguments broke out when people tried to skip the line. "I was here first," shouted a man, and another screamed, "No, I've been here since." "You weren't," a woman snapped. "I've been standing here since morning." Despite the chaos, Iyaronke's staff worked tirelessly, serving food and collecting money. Plates of steaming jollof rice, egusi soup, and amala were handed out as fast as they were prepared. People didn't care if the portions were small or if the prices were high. They just wanted to eat. Meanwhile, Iyaronke stood at the back of the kitchen, watching everything with a satisfied smile. Her buka, which used to be ignored, was now the busiest in the markets. The queue grew longer each day. Some customers even sat on the ground waiting for their turn. Others paid people to hold their spots in line. Children cried to their parents saying, "Mommy, I want Iyaronke's rice." Soon, people who didn't even shop at Lagos Island markets started hearing about the buka. Taxi drivers, delivery men, and even office workers traveled long distance just to eat there. The market traders couldn't believe what was happening. Iyaronke's fame grew so much that her small stall couldn't handle the demand. She had to expand, adding more cooking pots, chairs, and tables. Still, the queue stretched down the market streets. Despite all the success, Iyaronke stayed cautious. She remembered Baba's warning: never eat your own food, no matter how tempting the aroma was. She never took even a spoon. Instead, she picked one of her workers to test the meals before serving them. But behind the success, some began to feel uneasy. "Why are we so obsessed with our food?" a man asked his friend one day. The question lingered on, but no one could stop going back to Iyaronke's buka. The spell had started taking full effect. One quiet night, after another long and tiring day at the buka, Iyaronke sat on her couch. "Soon I'll be richest woman in the market," she whispered to herself, proud of how far she had come. She lay on her couch and drifted off to sleep. But her rest was far from peaceful. In her dream, she found herself back to Baba's shrine. The air was thick with smoke, and the herbalist sat cross-legged, his eyes glowing like burning coals. His voice, deep, echoed in the room. "Iyaronke," he called, his tone sharp and commanding. She knelt before him, trembling. "Yes, Baba, you are doing well, but do not forget the rules I gave you," he warned. "Never eat your food, no matter what. If you do, the consequences will be terrible." "I haven't, Baba," she replied quickly. "I would never break the rules." "Good," he said, his voice lowering. "But be careful, many eyes are watching you. Envy and curiosity surround you. Stay disciplined, or everything you've worked for will be destroyed." Before she could respond, Baba disappeared, and she woke up. Her heart raced, and beads of sweat covered her forehead. The dream was a warning. She knew she couldn't afford to make any mistake. The success she now enjoyed came at a cost, and she wasn't about to risk losing it all. From that night on, she became even more careful, reminding herself daily, never eat your food, never break the rules. But while she grew more cautious, the whispers and the suspicions around her continued to grow. Strange things started happening among Iyaronke's customers. People who ate at her buka once found themselves returning the next day and the day after. It was as though they couldn't get enough of her food. One trader, Mama Kemi, used to bring lunch from home to save money. But after tasting Iyaronke's jollof rice one afternoon, she stopped eating her own food. "I don't know what she puts in her rice," her friend kept complaining. Soon, Mama Kemi was spending all her profits at Aaronke's buka. She would leave her store unattended just to stand in line for hours. Her business began to suffer, but she didn't seem to care. It wasn't just traders who were affected. A wealthy man named Alhaji Sule, known for his strict diet, sent his driver to buy Aaronke's food every day. "My wife's cooking is good," he said one evening, "but it doesn't compare to that woman's meal." His wife was furious. "What is so special about her food?" she demanded. "I don't know," Alhaji replied, "but if you taste it, you will understand." Soon, servants were stealing from their masters just to buy Aaronke's food. A young boy named Ebuka was caught taking money just to buy Aaronke's food. Families began arguing over Aaronke's food. Husbands refused to eat their wives' meals, demanding food from the buka instead. Some wives, out of frustration, started buying her food in secret and serving it at home as their main meal. People in the market started noticing these strange behaviors. "Why can't anyone stop eating her food?" one trader asked. "It's not normal. I think she's using something," another whispered. "No food can taste that good naturally." Despite the growing suspicion, the customers kept coming. It was as if they had no control over their actions. The lines grew longer, the arguments louder, and the whispers darker. But for Aaronke, business was booming. She watched the chaos with a satisfied smile, confident that her secret was safe. The once lively Lagos Island market was no longer the same. Traders who had been filled with joy and energy now seemed troubled. People whispered about the strange things happening to those who ate at Aaronke's buka, but no one dared to say it loudly. The strange happenings in Lagos Island market continued to grow. Customers, workers, and traders were all affected in one way or another. Some whispered that Aaronke's food was bewitched, while others dismissed it as jealousy over her success. But deep down, even those who defended her felt uneasy. They couldn't explain why her food was so addictive or why people were willing to sacrifice so much just to get a taste. The market committee began to hear more and more complaints, and they knew they couldn't ignore it any longer. Something had to be done, but no one knew where to start. As the sun set over the market, a heavy silence fell. Traders were filled with questions. What was happening in their beloved market, and what dark secret lay hidden behind the doors of Aaronke's buka? The traders of Lagos Island market had reached their breaking point. The strange happenings, fights, stolen money, and broken families. They knew they needed divine intervention. Led by their committee, they invited a powerful deliverance man of God, Pastor Jerry, to lead a prayer section. Pastor Jerry was known for his fiery prayers and his ability to uncover hidden secrets. The committee explained everything to him: the addiction to Aaronke's food, the unusual behavior of her workers, and the chaos her buka had caused in the market. "This is no ordinary matter," Pastor Jerry said after listening. "We must pray fervently to break every spell and enchantment. Everyone in the market must attend, no exceptions." When Aaronke heard about the compulsory prayer section, fear gripped her. She tried to find an excuse not to attend, but the market committee had made it clear every trader had to be present. If she stayed away, she would be banished from selling in the market. Reluctantly, Aaronke arrived at the square on Thursday morning, thinking it was the usual Thursday prayers. She stood at the back, her heart pounding as Pastor Jerry began the section. "Today we call upon the power of God to deliver this market," Pastor Jerry declared, his voice echoing through the square. "Every hidden darkness will be exposed. Every spell shall be broken." The traders began to pray, their voices rising as they cry out to God. The atmosphere grew tense, and it felt as if a storm was brewing. Suddenly, Pastor Jerry raised his hands. "Let the power of God move in this place." As the prayers intensified, strange things began to happen. One of Aaronke's workers, named Chidima, started shaking violently. She fell to the ground, screaming and crying. "What is happening to her?" someone in the crowd shouted. "She's under a spell," another trader exclaimed. Chidima began to vomit a strange liquid substance, As if that wasn't enough, she began to scream, her voice filled with desperation. Let her eat her food. Let her eat her food. She must taste her food. Her words sent a chill through the crowd. All eyes turned to Iyaronke. She stood still and frozen in fear. Pastor Jerry moves towards Chidinma, laying his hands on her head. In the name of Jesus, every spell is broken. Every hidden evil is exposed. Chidinma's screams grew louder as she confessed. She made us eat it. She must have a taste of her food. The crowd erupted in shock and anger. Those who hadn't eaten Iyaronke's food began to murmur, explain to Pastor Jerry what was happening. She has been using something in her food to control us, Mama Nkechi said. We have lost our money, our families, and our peace of mind because of her. Realizing she couldn't hide any longer, Iyaronke tried to sneak away, but a group of traders grabbed her by the hand. You are not going anywhere, they shouted. Together, they marched to her buka, dragging her along. The crowd followed, their anger growing with every step. When they reached the buka, Pastor Jerry stood before her, his eyes blazing with righteous anger. You must eat your own food, he said. If it is as innocent as you claim, then prove it. Iyaronke shook her head, tears streaming down her face. I can't, she whispered. You have no choice, the trader shouted. You must eat your own food. With trembling hands, Iyaronke was forced to scoop a spoonful of her own food. As the spoon neared her lips, she hesitated, but the crowd's angry voices left her no room to escape. The moment the food touched her tongue, she let out a piercing scream. Her eyes rolled back and she began to laugh uncontrollable, like a mad woman. She fell to the ground, clawing at her clothes, muttering nonsense. She's gone mad, someone shouted. Iyaronke's madness was beyond control. She ran into the streets, tearing at her hair, shouting, my food, my food, my food, my food, my food, my food. Traders watched in shock as she disappeared into the darkness. As the traders settled down, Pastor Jerry led another round of prayers, this time for deliverance. He prayed for everyone who had eaten Iyaronke's food, breaking the spells and setting them free. One by one, Iyaronke's workers collapsed to the ground, sobbing as the enchantment left their body. The crowd joined hands, thanking God for deliverance. That fateful Thursday became a day of liberation for the markets. Families were restored and the traders felt a new sense of peace. Iyaronke was never seen in the markets of Lagos Island. Some said she roamed the streets, paying the price for her actions. Others believe she has gone to seek help, but it was too late. Her story became a warning to everyone about the dangers of greed and using that powers for personal gain. This is the end of our story. The story of Iyaronke teaches us that shortcuts to success come with heavy consequences. Thank you, my dear viewers. Please do well to subscribe to my channel and turn on your notification button for more interesting stories. Bye.